Developing now in Ocean City, where a night on the boardwalk took a violent turn after police say a 15-year-old boy was stabbed but had non-life-threatening injuries. The mayor says large crowds of teens have caused a number of issues this weekend. Our Alex George reports.
Memorial Day weekend brings thousands of beachgoers to Ocean City, but this Saturday night, the boardwalk turned violent.
For the most part, everybody's here to have a good time.
Abigail, come say hi!
The Ocean City Boardwalk is beloved by locals and tourists, all who came to enjoy the holiday weekend.
For being the #1 family town in America, yes, it's always surprising when something like that happens, especially here.
But on Saturday, just after 9 p.m., Ocean City police say a 15-year-old boy was stabbed. Witnesses tell us this took place somewhere between 9th and 10th Streets on the boardwalk.
This is a place supposed to come to have fun, and that was tragic that somebody had to get stabbed here.
These videos given to Fox 29 show crowds running from the chaos on the boardwalk onto the streets. Malvern Prep student Trey Gibson was there.
I just heard a whole bunch of screaming, lots of running. It was really chaotic, pretty scary.
As the crowd ran, more people joined and rumors swirled about where the danger was coming from.
A ton of people. Like, the boardwalk was so full, like, you would have got trampled if you didn't run.
Witnesses also sent this video to Fox 29 taken last night showing what appears to be multiple separate fights taking place on the same boardwalk just a few blocks down from where that stabbing happened. We reached out to Ocean City Police to confirm the relationship between these videos and the stabbing, but did not hear back.
Past years, it wasn't as chaotic, but, like, I feel like it's got more popular to a point it's, like, getting a little dangerous.
Ocean City already has an 11 p.m. curfew in place for minors, but beach regulars like Trey wonder if that works to stop things like this from happening.
To be honest, yeah, rules might not be enough.
Ocean City Police tell us that 15-year-old victim is in stable condition. Make sure to stay tuned for updates on fox29.com. In Ocean City, Alex George, Fox 29 News.
Philadelphia police are investigating several deadly shootings over this holiday weekend. Hanks at Philadelphia Police Headquarters giving us the details.
Sure. Good morning, Mike, Alex. Yeah, 3 deadly shootings over the course of less than an hour and a half last night. And from what police are able to gather so far, they're not even remotely related, guys. And it started last night. The most recent one happened on West Wishart Street at 29th when police arrived on the 2900 block. At about 11:15, guys, they say they found a woman suffering from a gunshot wound to the head, a single shot. She was immediately rushed to Temple Hospital, but pronounced dead just minutes later. Police found 1 shell casing. Here is what Chief Inspector David Pace told us.
The crime scene consisted of what we could find was 1 spent shell casing and 1 projectile. And the female was struck 1 time, so it's very possible that the shooter only fired 1 time. What we know preliminarily is that it appears that the shooter was on foot on Wishart Street and at close range fired at the victim. The victim lived on the block and was killed not far from the entranceway to her home.
Now, Mike, Alex, it was only blocks away, minutes before, over on Stanley Street, that another shooting occurred. Police say that when they arrived there, they found something like 20 9mm shell casings on the road. At the same point, they say a 23-year-old turned up at Temple University Hospital with gunshot wounds to the chest and neck. And that victim, a young man, was also pronounced dead minutes later. And at the scene, there were chairs scattered. Police say that they thought there might be witnesses, but none had spoken up so far. And that's not all, guys. Only a couple hours early, a little past 10, police say that they found a 34-year-old sitting in a car. He had been shot to death as well up on Roar Street, guys. So no weapons recovered, no arrests. Police are collating video from all 3 different places in an effort to try to get some clue as to who's behind each of these 3 different shootings. If you got any idea at all and you can help out, do give Philadelphia Police a call.
Well, if you went down the shore this weekend, you may have seen some of the chaos yourself in places like Wildwood or Ocean City.
There was even a state of emergency issued at one point after police were consumed by out-of-control teens and people in both shore towns. It's since been lifted here, but Greg, what a mess.
Yeah, well, Jason and Chris, despite the inconsistency of the weather here, you can see that there is a decent amount of people that are here along the boardwalk. And when you talk with folks, one of the things that they keep talking about is that emergency declaration that was put in place earlier this morning. Despite the iconic Wildwood sign being surrounded by fog and not a trace of sunlight hitting the beach,
watch the trail car, please.
people were making the best of it along the boardwalk.
It's been pretty decent weather, you know, like the years that we've been coming, and, you know, it's hit or miss, so it's what it is.
Well, it is a little chilly and with the wind and everything, but it's still an enjoyable time. Like even last night, we were out on the boardwalk pretty late, and it was a lot of people.
Which that large number of people last night causing major problems for the city of Wildwood and its law enforcement, forcing a state of emergency to be declared early Monday morning and the boardwalk to be closed for several hours after police say there was an irrepressible number of calls involving an extremely large number of young adults and juveniles, overwhelming the department. At one point, officials say Saturday evening, Wildwood police had to request aid from neighboring agencies for help responding to calls.
We saw a couple of fights starting and just like yelling and screaming, but other than that, that was it.
City officials say the decision to enact the emergency declaration was made out of an abundance of caution. This comes after Saturday night, Ocean City dealt with chaos involving large groups of teens, which resulted in a 15-year-old being stabbed. This is video given to Fox 29 showcasing that night, crowds running from the Ocean City boardwalk onto the streets.
Just hearing that is shocking. Haven't experienced any type of civil unrest since we've been here. Haven't been approached by anybody to make me feel uncomfortable or my family.
We did speak with a teenager visiting from Newark, New Jersey, who says he saw the activity Saturday night, but stayed out the way.
These kids really just need guidance and protection out here, for real, for real. It's not that much protection out here for these young bucks, but like, you feel me? Yeah, so they gonna act crazy when they act crazy. They definitely gonna act crazy.
Now, the mayor of Wildwood released a statement, and he had mentioned in it that unruly behavior by unruly, undisciplined children will not be tolerated in Wildwood.
Just take a look at some of the damage here as police say a flatbed truck just backed right into the store's front door, and then the culprits stole multiple guns from right inside. Here's Steve Keeley with the details.
Pretty scary. I got kids and stuff living right down here, and then something happened like that.
What happened was a brazen burglary that took out a lot of the front brick wall of a local landmark here for decades, with the big guns sign on top. Miller's Gun Center, here on DuPont Highway, Route 13. At 1:50 a.m., Newcastle County Police say they got the call of the alarm going off. And then, while on the way, a 911 caller said that while driving past, they watched a flatbed truck back into and through the front door. And not just the door was busted out, so was a lot of the front brick wall and the entire door frame, all of which now fills and lies next to the dumpster out front.
Something happened like that, somebody stole some guns, so it's like, we don't know whose hands they're getting into, so it's a little bit scary. Keep you up at night.
None of the neighbors we met living next to or close to the gun store saw or heard anything until the large police response after. Miller's, the neighbors said, had this replacement door up by 7 a.m. And neither the owners or the police so far have said how many or what kind of guns were taken in the heist. Police so far have only said that by the time officers got here to the store, they could see it had been broken into, that several firearms, meaning handguns, were taken, and that the truck was gone from the area.
It's scary right now because, I mean, where did the guns go? Who has them? You know, what's going to happen? I hope it ain't children, you know, that's going to get their hands on it.
There's too many of them on the streets already, and that's just a couple more there, or how many more, who knows.
Miller's is family owned and here since 1959. And in all that time, no one living around here ever recalls any burglary or crime here before. And tonight, they have a security guard out front to make sure there's not another. In Newcastle, Steve Keeley, Fox 29 News.
First, at 11, breaking news in Philadelphia. A deadly scene in Hunting Park where you can see pieces of a motorcycle scattered across the road. The driver of a stolen car full of teenagers crashing into the biker, killing him. I'm Sheba Russell. Right now, police are at the scene at North Front Street and East Hunting Park Avenue, and that's where Steve Keeley is. Steve, you have some new information for us?
Well, I'm going to have surveillance video of this crash, and we're going to blur it out. But before we run it, here is the motorcycle about to be towed away. And look how mangled all that metal is. And the man riding that motorcycle is legally registered. A man in his 40s was killed almost instantly, police believe, when he hit a car that ran a red light. Now, the car is a white Kia SUV that you'll see in their surveillance. And before we run the video, it was a 17-year-old male driving this stolen Kia, stolen in Northeast Philly last night. he had 4 passengers, all teenagers. The driver was a 7-year-old male. He had 1 other male and 3 females, all between the ages of 15 and 17. This is North Front Street, what you're looking at now. And the motorcyclist ended up on North Front Street, but he is going on West Hunting Park, and Greg will pan to the left to give you a shot of how far he was thrown. So here is the surveillance, and again, we blur out the impact, but you'll see police arrive just milliseconds after. And here is the video. And so this is right after 8 o'clock tonight. And we asked police, was there a pursuit? They said that's under investigation. But they clearly knew this was being a stolen vehicle being driven at a high rate of speed, and then you see police arrive 2 or 3 seconds after the accident. Here is Inspector Scott Small, who we spoke to just before 10 o'clock.
After the Kia, the striking vehicle, and the motorcycle collided, the Kia continued northbound for about 1,000 feet, and for some reason, the Kia stopped, and that's when all 5 juveniles bailed out on foot. The police did a great job apprehending all 5 of them, and they identified the 17-year-old male who jumped out of the driver's seat as the driver.
Let's have the police behind me, all right? All right, so this happens, and all 17-year-olds run every different direction, and they catch some of them down here. Greg, you're going to spin around 180 degrees, and you see the police with the lights on all the way down the street. So when I get here, they have a van with those all in custody down there, and they're all being questioned right now. And again, they're all juveniles, so you can bet that their parents are being called, if not already, and this is going to be a serious case for that driver who's 17 years old. And it's also going to be a question for the Philadelphia police whether or not they were in pursuit of this stolen vehicle, and there's always that question that comes, especially when somebody who's an innocent driver or an innocent pedestrian somewhere gets killed as a result of a potential and possible police pursuit in this case, who police would not confirm on camera whether they were pursuing, but you can be the judge by it on that video, what you see when police arrive soon after. And who knows how long these people were in that stolen Kia driving that fast and that erratically and through lights. I asked if there were any other intersections that maybe they blew through red lights. Police said that is also under investigation here tonight. So, Sheba, what a sad story for the members of the family who are just learning about this victim, and they're showing up here on the scene too, which is always an awful thing to witness and maybe talk to these folks as well, which we have done. But boy, that surveillance tells the story there, Sheba, and it's hard to watch, especially when it's not blurred out as I saw it initially.
So incredibly sad. Steve, I was wondering if the family had shown up. I could hear some motorcycles in the distance there.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, Sheba. This guy with a flat tire just drove into this crime scene, right? And the fire department's here, and sadly, this is one of their tough jobs. They got to hose down human blood, it seems like this, right? But we had a driver, believe it or not, when there was even more police here, before they towed anything away, driving with the music blaring, and he's weaving between all the police cars, and they stop him, and he's got an open bottle of Corona beer, and they take him away in handcuffs, because even people are driving erratically, even around a crime scene and around through police cars, even though their lights are blaring left and right, and there's yellow tape everywhere.
Some residents in Philadelphia's Fairmount neighborhood are fed up following a string of car break-ins. The windows of car after car smashed and property stolen. Here's our Dawn Timoney.
It's been happening a lot, and it's scary. It is scary, because is it going to escalate to other things? Hasn't yet, but
Stacy Tobin is talking about the rash of car break-ins in the Fairmount section this week. Thieves busting car windows to get whatever they can. Glass strewn in the street.
I came out today and saw that one. I was like, it's right here, right on my block. Right behind my car, actually. It's really a shame. They don't steal the car, they just bust the windows, and now you have to pay hundreds of dollars to get it replaced.
Parking is hard enough as it is, and so having to worry about your car getting broken into, and obviously it's a hassle and having things stolen is super frustrating, and so just not feeling like your property is safe is obviously annoying.
Fairmount resident Kate Round believes the thieves are targeting Brown Street near Corinthian along the Eastern State Penitentiary because there are no surveillance cameras there.
I always try and park it like in front of a house. You know, I feel like it's less likely to get broken into if I'm in front of a house versus just like here from the penitentiary. You know, nobody's gonna have their Ring camera pointed here.
This longtime Fairmount resident says her car was broken into and ransacked sometime Monday night into Tuesday morning. She's actually glad she forgot to lock her doors.
And now I'm thinking,
Well, maybe that's actually the thing to do. Because if they can get in your car and see that there's nothing of value, then at least you don't end up with a broken window.
She reported it to police, but says they told her it's difficult to catch the culprits unless they're caught on camera or in the act.
It has me concerned and angry. You know, who the hell is doing this?
That is the million-dollar question. Residents are just hoping police catch whoever is responsible before any more cars are hit. Dawn Timoney, Fox 29 News. Take a look at your screen. This Bucks County man is facing sextortion charges involving 9 girls, and police fear there could be more victims. Joanne, what are you learning tonight?
Dawn, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Law enforcement says this sextortion is a growing crisis that continues to devastate children, teenagers, and their families. And police say this case involving a Ben Salem man followed the same disturbing M.O.
And they were contacted from someone they believed to be a 15-year-old blonde-haired boy who reached out under an alias that was not his real name. It was Jack Goodrick.
But police say it was 21-year-old Jonathan Brodecki of Ben Salem, who allegedly made contact via Snapchat and Instagram with young teenage girls.
They thought they were speaking to and then sending, unfortunately, nude photos of themselves and videos to him.
Police here were alerted about Brodecki after one 15-year-old victim reported to Snapchat that she was being harassed and sexually extorted. They tracked the IP address to Brodecki's home in Ben Salem and discovered 8 more teenage victims.
He threatened to expose them to their friends, to their high school friends, to keep them sending pictures.
Recent FBI statistics show 13,000 reports of sextortion in the last 2 years. The victims, teen girls and boys. Police confiscated Brodecki's phone and laptop, and they say he admitted to the crimes. I spoke to his father outside their Moore Avenue home. He was visibly upset and said, quote, "The family is trying to get help for Jonathan and that mental illness is rampant and you don't know until it happens to a loved one."
Online, all these young kids can jump on it and, meet the wrong people. And there should be something strict about it.
After a similar case in Ben Salem 8 years ago, 21-year-old sextortion victim Lindsay Picone committed suicide. And police and her heartbroken family lobbied for stricter laws.
There's now Lindsay's Law in Pennsylvania to enhance sentencing for people who sextort and extort children. My message to any parent, I'm a father, is don't be afraid to take your kid's phone, have rules, see the apps they're utilizing, and have those conversations with your kids so they can come to you when something like this happens.
Brodecki is being held on $5 million bond. Police believe there are likely more victims. Police also say it's vital to have the common sense conversation with your kids and teenagers. Don't ever send nude photos. In Ben Salem, I'm Joanne Pileggi, Fox 29 News.
All right, Joanne, important information there. Thank you.